This is TimeZero version 3, and this is what we use to plan our routes. We had planned our routes over to the Bahamas and around the Bahamas before Hurricane Dorian. You can see the blue line here, that's our route. But now with Hurricane Dorian, we're probably not going to want to come into Freeport for a number of reasons. So what we'll do is we'll go into Bimini, and this is how we use TimeZero. Here's a route tool over here. And what I like to do is that I like to start with the Anchorage where I want to go to, and then I'll reverse the route after. And in this case, this is Biscayne Bay down here in Florida. I know that we didn't mind anchoring out here, so what I'll do is put down my use my route tool and start building my route out. I know that this will be fine for us. This will be fine. And then from here on, we'll just have to go up to Port Everglades. Which is right here. Now we'll press escape and have a look at this route. So these little arrows down here, this arrow here shows the direction of the route, and since we planned it backwards, what we'll do is we'll just click on it, click reverse route, and then it will reverse the route for us. So now it's showing us red, so that's not ideal, but what I can do already is kind of see by opening this menu down here and clicking on here. So I can see it's 29 nautical miles. And if we were to leave at 9 a.m. doing 6 knots, we'd arrive there at 2 p.m., which would be fine. 6 knots sounds okay. If we motor, we'll do 7.5, 8 knots. If we sail, it depends, you know, it depends on the wind. We might be doing 10 knots. But so now what I'll do is I clean this up a tiny bit so I can go in here. I should be able to extend route. Oh, of course, so it extends it from the bottom. Didn't mean to do that. It's okay. We'll delete that waypoint. Come back up here. We can close this as well so it doesn't clutter up our screen. We use a tablet PC, but you can use any PC you want. It's not available for Mac, which is annoying because we primarily use Mac around. So we'll just go insert. I right-clicked, insert a waypoint. Put it anywhere really, because this is one we're going to use. So we're going to come out of here. So now we're going to try to figure out what's going on with this red line. Why this is red. There's probably a number of reasons why. I don't think any of this. We'll see. So what I do is to kind of figure out where the problem is. Just go click insert waypoint and take it out a bit. And see, okay, so it's green. So there was an issue up here, and I mean we don't need to be this far out, so I might bring that in a bit too, because that's pretty far out. We don't really need to do that. Actually, what we can do is we can just delete this waypoint now. So this is kind of a process to build a route, but it doesn't take very long, and we feel a lot better. And from here we'll transfer it over into the Raymarine, all the waypoints. So we have everything green going on here. I always double check our routes, and then we'll come through the Port of Miami, I believe it is. So we'll just have to be careful, but I don't think there's any issues here that well, you know, just to be safe. So we'll insert another waypoint coming here, and then it'll be green. Perfect. So we should be good all the way down to here, and this is where we're going to get into this this area here. And I'm not sure why this is red. It probably has to do maybe with depths, which it shouldn't. But so TimeZero is not always, this red marking is not always accurate. I know we can go through here because we've gone through here before with our training captains, plural. So I know this is going to be okay, but generally I probably wouldn't do that if I didn't know that we could go through there. And then what I'll do is we have this boundary circle over here. That's kind of where I, how I figure out where we're going to anchor. Usually what I do is I'll do a 300-foot circle. I don't know what that's in meter. You can switch it back to meters as well. So then I know that this is going to be okay. And if we drop our anchor, we'll be fine depending on the wind. We definitely don't want to go over here. So who knows? We might even come out a bit more just for peace of mind. But holding down here is really good. So that would be our first route coming down here. Again, the route's selected, so we can just click on this here, on this little menu, and we'll see that if we leave at 9, we'll arrive at 2 p.m. That's totally fine. Let me make it even. Good. So now that we have that, we'll probably do something very similar when for our crossing over the Gulf Stream over into Bimini. You can see Bimini is right over here. So this is Bimini in here. That's not where we're going to take the boat. I don't like this this channel here. The channel markers are kind of wonky and it's too shallow. I actually grounded our dinghy over here. You can walk this. You can walk in all of this. So I don't want to go there. Nevertheless, here we go. Same thing. We want to anchor around here. We've anchored there before. I'll do my 300 feet just to kind of, maybe we'll pop in over here. That'd be totally fine. And then what we'll do is we'll go to our route tool, and we'll build our route. And this one's probably going to be pretty easy. We want to come over here. So let's leave it here for now and try to figure out, first of all, we'll reverse the route again because let's try to make sure we don't run into any issues over here in Bimini with our route, which I don't think we would, but let's see if we can make TimeZero happy. Okay, so it doesn't like this part, which nobody really knows why. And that's okay. But we know that this this route's gonna be okay. So now, first what I'll probably do is I'll probably change the color of this route to something else so I don't get it confused. Go with a purple. We do that on the Ray Marine as well. And then what I'll do is I'll insert a waypoint right close here, and then I'll bring our boat in here, and then I'll build the rest of the route out. And that's just how I do it. I think everybody probably has their own method. This one just kind of works for me. Just inserting waypoints now. And actually what we can do is we can just use this one right here. Perfect. So let's come in here and make sure we're in the channel, because all this is going to go into our autopilot. So I want to make sure that this is somewhat accurate. Obviously, I would adjust any sort of waypoints and route on the plotter while we're underway. There we go. So it doesn't like this, which we know. It's okay. Come over here, refine. Okay. There we go. So that would be then our route over to Bimini, and now we can do this exactly the same thing. I know we're going to motor over there. It's 47 nautical miles. So let's have a look. If we leave at 9, we'll arrive at 4. That's going to be too late. So we'll probably end up leaving at around 4 a.m. Which means we'll get in around 11. So that makes a lot of sense. Allows us time for check-in. So now let's go back over here. Perfect. So we'll be anchored right here, and then we can plan our next jump. So I know that we want to end up, we want to try doing the berries, which are over here, but then we also want to get down to into the Exumas over here. So what I think what we'll do is we'll just go down the bottom way, and I know there's a few anchorages down here. I think there's cat key, is it? A gun key, there you go. So I know that some people don't mind anchoring here, and this is active captain, these little symbols. So when you click on it, you can go to show more details, and you can see some comments. And this is all from active captain, I'm pretty sure. And unless we, you know, it's kind of a hit and miss, really. We've had some really great anchorages. We had some really not so good anchorages. As long as we have good holding, it doesn't really matter because we can just leave. So here we go. Another circle. And also, I mean, this circle is kind of approximate because when we show up there and there's boats in our circle, then obviously we can't actually use that. And then here we go again. So apply my route. Come up here. Probably cut through there. Oh, don't know what happened there. That's okay. We'll fix it. Sometimes it does that. And it's probably user error. Or it's probably that I'm using a laptop. But I don't want to have a big heavy mouse around here. This is a tablet PC, which is fine. But the pen is also not really the best to do this with. I just wish it was on Mac. Okay, it definitely doesn't like us going through all those rocks. That's good. Thank you very much. Okay, now we're all green. That's good. I'll review everything. We'll reverse the route. This is gonna be really a short one. 7 nautical miles, and we can see this again. This doesn't really matter as much because we can leave whenever, as long as it's, you know, before noon. But let's actually, let me say 11. We'll show up there at 12. That's plenty of time. Yeah, that's okay. Let's close this down. So that's how we plan. That's kind of how I would go through our entire, or will go through our entire trip, and it'll take me forever to do that, and forever is an exaggeration, clearly. Okay, what's the problem here? Just like those, maybe? Let's see. If we can insert. Nope. Yeah, sometimes it does really funny things, you know. There's, I mean, a depth of 9 feet. And we do everything in feet just because our boat's set up in feet. Otherwise, we would do it in meters. And we'll probably switch over to meters here pretty soon. Sometimes it does funny things, and nobody can really figure out why it's doing that. I mean, this should be totally fine. I mean, it might not be actually fine, and we'll make sure to, you know, keep our eye out. But from a TimeZero perspective, this should be totally fine. Let's quickly check our settings, because you can set our boat settings in here as well. So let's see. I think it will be under. There's all sorts of settings in here. And once in a while, I'll have to go in here and see what's going on. There's a safety, routes and boundaries, maybe. No. So this is a boat setup, so we have 60 feet by 30 feet. Our keel draft is 5.5 feet. Yeah, so this should be fine, actually. I'm not sure why it's, under routing, I think it is. No, it's not. So this is our maximum wind speeds. You can pull weather in here as well. We use predict wind for the weather. It's more intuitive than TimeZero, but TimeZero is pretty awesome. I mean, it's really the best routing program we have seen out there, and we've tried a few of them. We actually had reached out to TimeZero, and they gave us this copy for free, which is awesome. That being said, though, we no doubtedly would pay for it. Anyway, so I'm not sure why it's red. I know it's going to be okay, and once I put it into our chart plotter, I'll also make sure that it's okay. Okay, so another thing that we use, I use quite a bit, especially in the Bahamas, I don't know, it keeps on popping up, is different maps. So we have Navionics map in right now, so it's kind of using Navionics, but we also have Explorer charts. So often what I'll do is I'll come in here and just kind of like look through our map and see, does Explorer charts have any sort of issues with what we want to do here? Which we definitely want to take into consideration, and it doesn't. Everything looks fine. And with Explorer charts, it won't take any of the depth readings of the map and take them into consideration when it does the route, because it's not that type of chart. It's a raster chart, I guess they call it, as opposed to vector. So that's it. And then I guess from here, then we could follow these lines over, these major crossing lines, and do our crossing over to Nassau, or Nassau, however you want to pronounce it. So that's TimeZero version 3. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. You can follow us, our adventures on exploreking.com. That's exploring with a K, because we're awesome. And that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, if you have any questions, just leave a comment.